And we are live. It's your boy Donald Jr. This is Finlit Live. I am live in my car because I'm at the Marvin Sapp concert and I just stepped out just to be able to educate you guys. And I was super excited about this topic. I'm not passing this up. We're definitely going to jump on live and talk about real estate investing. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely if you're catching this live, put hashtag live in the comments. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and put in the comments hashtag replay, and let's go ahead and get lit. So this is definitely a first in Finlit Live. I've never had a guest twice in back-to-back weeks, and I'm super excited to have this guest back. Tara did an amazing job last week, and I have a feeling she's going to bring the fire again. This is a topic I'm personally interested in, and if you definitely have questions about this, definitely go ahead and type in the comments, and we'll address that with her. And so with that, let's go ahead and bring Tara back on. Thank you, Tara, for being on 2 weeks in a row. You're a rock star stud for being willing to jump on live both times.
Well, thank you so much for having me yet again. I am so excited to be on live with you tonight, and thank you for making the time to connect. Obviously, you love your followers. You are committed and dedicated to your frequency, so thank you. I am just trying to be like you, okay? You are hitting the ground running and you're multitasking today, and that's what we do in the industry these days. We play modern day Monopoly. So excited to bring forth my second industry that I'm earning in and share some hopefully key tips and valuable information with the viewers.
Excellent. For those that didn't catch the first video last week, can you go ahead and share your background again? Who are you? What are you up to? Where are you from?
So I am Tara Spears from Oklahoma. I am actually here in Houston, Texas. I do a plethora of things. I'll tell you, I am a modern day Monopoly playing Aquarius. That's what I call myself. But essentially, I solve many problems for a living. Some of the industries that I work in and do that, it would be audit consulting, business insurance audit consulting. That is a key area for me with QI Audit Solutions. Also real estate, which is another hot sector that we're going to talk about tonight. I serve as obviously a real estate investor, developer. I am a property manager, investor, coach to other investors. I'm actually also a procurement officer. So I source material mainly throughout the Midwest to help others with their projects and obviously meet rehab budgets, you name it. But we're going to get into a lot of fun stuff tonight. So essentially, country girl from Oklahoma, migrated to Houston, Texas. I do travel quite a bit just because of the initiatives and the different projects and things that I have going on. But I'm having a lot of fun. And one of the things that I enjoy is equipping people with my experiences, with my information, and with resources to help bless your life, your initiative, right? It's not just about me, but it's what can I do to bring value and add to you. So as a person, that's who I am.
Wow. When do you sleep?
I'm honestly, I'm a true insomniac too. I barely sleep. I'm not kidding. I do not sleep like regular people sleep. So I'm working on that actively. I'm always working on that. So yeah, but pray for me tonight.
Yes,
look.
Absolutely. Jesus. Awesome. So today we're here to talk about property investment. Give us a little history. How did you get involved in real estate investing?
Oh, goodness. Okay. So my relationship with money has been an interesting one, right? And I dabbled and started within the real estate industry when I was 19, purchased my first property at 19, and I still own that property today, which is fun. But I'll tell you, along the way, I've learned so much. As you can imagine, being 19 years old, obviously dabbling and stepping into the world of investment and taking on properties and just the whole experience that goes along with it, managing expenses, people, project. I mean, you name it. You learn quite a bit. So you make adjustments along the way. Today, I own over 15 doors, and my strategy for acquiring properties has definitely adjusted with me, right? So which are some of the fun things that we'll talk about, right? Real estate is a very, very, I'll tell anyone, it's a lucrative business getting into the industry. There's so many different ways that you can get in. I have my unique approach, which I will talk about, but then I'll leave obviously room for different questions for those that may be at different areas, backgrounds, or just maybe have unique concepts at play. So for me, again, I did join real estate at 19. I financed that property on a 30-year fixed note. I still own that property today. Again, I do have over 15 doors. I have a mixed portfolio, and I'm so blessed to be able to say this, but I own my portfolio outright. I only have a note on one property. So I'm so grateful. Listen, a lot of
Wow.
hard work, a lot of discipline. All of those things honestly go into play when you think about just real estate, managing a real
Wow.
estate portfolio, or just it defies the norm, if you will, on how some people consider getting into the industry. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, right? You don't
Absolutely.
have to do what you see everyone else doing. You just have to figure out, where are you comfortable? What seems right and feels right for you? And so one of the things that I want to mention is, for many years, right, your relationship with money, the behavior patterns that you have associated with, all of those things matter. So for those that are interested in just kind of breaking into the industry, I would highly encourage those to focus on your credit portfolio, your behavior patterns with money. Look at your dollars, right? What you have coming in and what's going out. Where are those dollars going? Are you telling your money what to do, or is your money telling you what to do? And be very honest about that relationship. So at 19, I can tell you, I was, as Dave would say, he's a key influencer for me, someone that I do respect. I love his content, Dave Ramsey. I'll tell most that I am Dave Ramsey inspired, not Dave Ramsey approved. But I definitely love his content. And being 19, obviously, you learn a lot along the way. So I started out financing my deal, and I quickly learned how and why that works, and then what are the challenges with doing that, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about it, that's actually depending on where you fall on the spectrum with being either conservative or too liberal, too comfortable with just jumping off the cliff, right? With no filter, or not taking the time to develop exit strategies, they'll call it in the industry. You get to see how some of those things can get you in trouble. So I'll start with saying, you have to know your comfort level, right? Know what makes sense to you. Understand your entire life, your livelihood, what happens, cause and effect. And I always would encourage everyone, play a game called, hey, intellectual chess. Reason with yourself if something goes your way and if it does not go your way. And if you have at least two exit strategies, should something not go your way, then that may be a good deal for you.
Right.
Okay. So keep that in mind. For me, there's so many different things in real estate that I just want to talk about. I mean, we'd have to do a build out, but I just want to cover some of these that may be most common for many that you've heard about. So obviously, when getting into real estate, my first deal I financed. All of my deals after that, I actually paid cash for. And what allowed me to do that is basically the process of me living well below my means for several years. And that was working very hard, you know, grinding every day, you name it, being a true Aquarius and being my daddy's daughter, literally. But telling those numbers where to go. When you bring in your money, have a plan for your money. Like literally set up your strategy, have a game, a plan of attack on how do you want to approach the market? What type of deals are attractive for you? And so for me, sometimes we'll find ourselves in position where you may run across a great deal, but are you prepared? Do you have the capital? So for those starting out, it's always a best practice to focus on your credit portfolio as well as your relationship behavior patterns attached to that portfolio, whether it's good or bad, whether it's something you need to improve, or, just give or take what you're seeing. Because if you choose to finance your deals, right, here's the thing, you're going to pay far less if you have better credit than someone who, let's say, does not have the best credit score. And that's a fact.
For sure.
Now, in this market, things get interesting when we start talking about leveraging deals. There's a hot, popular acronym in the real estate market right now called BRRRR strategy. So
Hmm.
the BRRRR strategy is basically where you would buy, rehab, rent, refi, and repeat. That is
Hmm.
essentially the BRRRR strategy in a nutshell. And so a lot of people will do that process and they'll simply do it over and over and over. Well, that's okay, but guess what? I would then, being the devil's advocate, I would say play a game called Devil's Advocate with yourself and your approach and pick holes in it, dissect it, tear it apart. Ask yourself, if the worst case scenario happened, what is your then what? And if you do not have an answer for that, then basically you're flawed.
Wow.
Okay. So plan for real estate bubbles. Let's say the market takes a hit, because everything is cyclical, right?
Absolutely.
We see these trends all the time. So if you're going into your deals and you're deciding that you do want to finance, you want to acquire debt to secure your deals, then you have to ask yourself, hey, with your ratio of debt that you're taking on, that you're assuming, do you have room to assume a market hit? Right? Now, in this current market, right, we've actually seen interest rates come down at like low rates, but however, it's really an offset. And here I go telling off on the industry, but so basically, if you consider what's going on right now, okay, we are all living through interesting times where there's a shortage in single family homes right now.
Yes.
There's like lower inventory on the market. And so one of the effects is obviously the prices that you pay, they skyrocket. I mean, I'm seeing things go for like double, triple their normal going rate easily.
Wow.
So yes, you might see a low interest rate, and at first that may be appealing, but when you consider the actual overall cost of a deal, essentially some would consider that offsetting. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Okay, so we'll build this out. And these are, like I say, this is real life best practices. This is stuff that's going on in the market right now. Okay, so if you take a property that's going about 2 or 3 times its normal rate, but you have a low interest rate. So essentially, once you're finalizing the finance part of your deal, you would not feel the impact that you would in a traditional environment where the inventory is normalized. But guess what happens? You have to ask yourself, okay, at the point of which the market takes a hit and the bubble bursts, what will that do for my portfolio? And how will I be able to weather that when it comes to my investment approach? If it's a property that you have acquired to rent out, let's say, that way you can develop some monthly cash flow. Can you afford to take a hit and come down on your rent? What would that do for your profit margin? Okay, so these are key questions that sometimes we can get so excited and we're really eager and we see great opportunities, but it really does pay for us to process walk this and really look at it. Like I say, dissect the process and be unbiased, right? Be unbiased. Ask yourself questions to set you up for success and not failure. So that's why I always recommend, for those that I connect with, other investors, those that are basically preliminarily starting out, trying to figure it out. I coach a lot of different people at different levels on options on how they can start and get into the game of real estate investing. So outside of finance, right, you actually do have the ability to purchase outright. Some do it through tax liens, delinquent tax sales. A lot of cities, counties, and states have these tax sales on an annual basis. Now, there is a preliminary period where you have to wait. Maybe for some states, it could be 1 to 2 years after you purchase the property, just because there is an appeal process for the former owners. But it's still a great way that I've known people that have gotten those deals. Now, I've purchased my portfolio outright, which basically is possible. But I'll tell you, a lot of research goes into it. So I would scout my own deals. I would do a lot of research for multiple markets. I would invest a lot of time into really dissecting the territory, you name it. Running comps, looking at the numbers, what profit margin are you going for, all of that, right? And being prepared for when you find the deal that you've been seeking. Are you prepared from a capital basis? So raising capital, working, telling your dollars where to go, saving money, obviously, paying off debts if you can. All of those things better your portfolio to leverage you and put you in a better position to invest and actually do it in a more secure way to give you options. Outside of that, I know you and I had a sidebar, right? We were talking about sometimes you can actually make money on properties.
Yes.
Right? Here's where it gets fun for some. They're going to like this. And you actually do not have to own the property, right? You just have to be in direction and control and management of the asset to be able to make money off of it. A lot of people are doing Airbnb short-term rentals, right? We see that is very popular. Because you can take a property and easily pull in, let's say, $6-7 grand a month. Whereas the traditional income, monthly cash flow income strategy, right? Just renting to maybe a single family home to just a family, you're going to literally make at least 5 times, if not more, for a given month for the right property. So it's very attractive if you know how you want to get in and what you're doing. But you do not have to only acquire properties by way of financing. There's so many different other options. Also, there's a thing called subletting. You can also sublet deals, right? So you can get a property under contract, and then it has a clause that will allow you to sublet that contract out to someone else.
Wow.
So essentially, you're able to, let's say you get a property under contract and it's for, I don't know, let's say $700, but then you sublet it out to someone else to live there and pay you $1,300. Well, then you basically, you're getting paid profit each month just by subletting one contract. Wow. And so this is an approach that a lot of folks that are in a position to where that maybe they're working on their credit, maybe they're raising their capital, they're saving, they're really trying to build their reserve and their funds. There's still different ways that you can get into the market. It's all about where you are, where are you most comfortable, and what makes sense for you. In the financial industry, obviously, the answer comes down to always, it depends. So these are different options. For sure. These are different options. Now, other fun stuff with real estate, because acquiring properties, right? That's one thing. But after you acquire a property, what do?
You gotta
now that's what can get even more fun, right? So for me right now, I have 4 active construction projects in this market. I know, yes, in a market where lumber is the liquid gold, I would have 4 construction projects going on, of course.
Of course.
Of course I would. But yes, I do have 4 construction projects active. Out of those projects, 3 of those are buy and holds to be monthly cash flow rental properties. And the other is a flip project. So that one is going to be brought to market for sale. So it's a flip. Nice. Excuse me. And so as a part of that process, I am very heavily involved. I serve as the project manager. I source the material. I hire the laborers, you name it. I'm very, very hands-on. I even perform some of the work myself. Wow. So I come from a background of builders. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, definitely. And so I love all things real estate. Literally, when it comes to tearing things out, demo, landscaping, pulling trees, having to get a pole saw and literally cut trees off of roofs just so you can re-roof the house, all of that. It all goes into the projects, right? Sweat equity, literally.
Yeah,
so I'm a big, you know it, exactly. And so when it comes to after you have a property, right, if you have to rehab it, costs are of significance. And so that's why I really do push people to take a moment to really consider your relationship with money, currency, management of currency, management of projects, management of time. All of those things make sense, and it really can impact your bottom line and your profit margins, because if you finance the deal, but yet you still have maybe some rehab to do every day, it's like time is literally money, and you want that property brought to market sooner than later, because, you know, if you're shelling out money and it's not bringing in anything, it's no brainer, right? A little pressure. You start making monthly mortgage payments on something that's not paying you anything. It's interesting. I've had the fun opportunity to be in a situation actually like that. And personally, that's why I do take the time to diversify my investment approach, right? So I have out of my portfolio, most of it is buy and hold versus flip, because again, we are in a market where there's a shortage in single family homes and there's an area of opportunity. So for me, professionally, I think that, you know, buy and hold is what I want to do. I'm not opposed to flips, but I'm more so heavier on the residential buy and hold side. I do have 3 commercial spaces. So my portfolio is mixed. So it is mixed, but I'm heavier on the residential side. And out of that residential bag, most of those are buy and holds versus flips. So that does help. If you're rehabbing something and, hey, you don't have to pay a mortgage note, taxes are all paid, you know, it's less pressure. So I have a lot of different things that go into why I've chosen the approach that I've chosen, which I'll share some key experiences. I was blessed to have the experience one time, right? The property that I do have a note on, I had a tenant that, let's just say did a number on that particular home.
Oh,
And
no.
so much so that it was inhabitable, right? I could not bring it to
Wow.
market in its condition. The person literally, broke the lease, didn't pay for the last couple months of that particular lease. And I mean, it was quite a situation there. And I was actually paying the note on that property. I was paying for the rehab costs to bring it to market and turn it around to get it in a state where it was able to be rented. And so there was a lot of cash going out, right? Thankfully, I managed reserves properly to absorb that, and I even had to pay litigation fees to actually sue them. So as you can imagine. So these are some of the things that I equip people with real conversation of things that can happen. Now, I've been blessed to where my experience honestly has been heavenly, but you run into some of it all, but you have to be best prepared to absorb the what if this happens, then what? Play the game to go your way and not go your way. And if you have an answer or at least two exit strategies, should the game not go your way, to me, you're in a safe place to win. Okay.
Wow. You threw out so many golden nuggets just in that short little time. Wow. So just playing the what if game and making sure you have all your contingencies taken care of, because in real estate, anything can happen.
And guess what? One of the most valuable things to do, and it doesn't matter what industry, what market, what you're trying to tap into, is connect with folks that are actively doing what you want to do. I connect with a lot of different individuals, other investors, a lot of realtors who are breaking into the world of investing. I work with realtors all the time who are, starting out, some even seasoned, because I also source material. So I provide an avenue to where other investors can come and get material from me, literally, for less than what the big box retailers will literally charge them. And I do volume pricing. I'm able to do tax adjustment incentives, all these different things to help them meet their overall numbers per project. Because for me, it's all about win-win situations. That's what I like to create. I like to create situations where everyone wins. And so for me, I'm blessed to have material and source goods to where, like I say, even with my markup, it still leaves room for someone else to mark it up if they're going to resell it, because I do serve as the vendor supplier for other vendors, as well as those who are utilizing it solely for their rehab projects. So information definitely coming on that. But you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me, learn more. Obviously, we could have so many different conversations on a regular basis about real estate, different areas, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pros, the cons, you name it. But the best thing I would say is connect with someone active in the industry who can discuss and process walk a day in the life, show you how to evaluate properties. How do you, the appraisal process? How do you basically go and view a deal and even set up and estimate project costs? How do you even beat out some of the costs, right? Like there's so many different ways that you can approach things. It's really key to get next to experience, people doing what you do.
We're going to have you back on the show because just that little line, there's so many, we can have a full 20-minute conversation on each of those subjects.
We could, literally.
It's pretty incredible. Wow, I appreciate you for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge. Like, oh my gosh, what inspired you to get into real estate? Like when I was 19, I was thinking about trying to buy textbooks for school.
Well, you know what? When I was 19, I always thought about paying for apartments as cash in the trash. I used to think to myself, I was like, well, this doesn't come with an expiration date. And I realized that, it's helping your portfolio, but what is it exactly doing for me? And is there a better way? I was always an interesting child. Okay. And that was a real question that I had in my mind. I was like, this apartment rent, this lease, it doesn't come with an expiration date. And that was my problem. I was like, well, but I can get one that does. You know, and I had known family members, for example, that rented, you know, nice high end places even for like 16 plus years. And I would think to myself early on, I was thinking like this. I was like, you know, what if you applied that towards something that could be yours and did come with an expiration, even if it was a 15-year note, 30-year, you'd literally be halfway there, if not even more than that, if you applied more to principal, right? And so I really took that, stepped out on faith. And, you know, it's really true that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You know, that has been the case in my life, because when I've grown a lot, but at the pivotal points that I was ready to transition into the different seasons, the different chapters, the different phases, I would take the experiences, take some of my lessons, my fails. I've fallen flat on my face plenty of times to learn valuable lessons, and now be in a position to where I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I have mentors that I learn from. And now I myself serve as a mentor to other people, right? To put you ahead of the game, not behind. So instead of you starting at ground zero, right, you get a running head start. You have someone who can coach you, counsel you, give you that insight, give you that advice. And at the end of the day, it's just information. Take it, do what you want, use it or lose it. It's totally up to you, but you are at least equipped to make a better and more informed decision from people that are active in the industry.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been listening to this tape lately, and the first piece of advice he gives is who you listen to. Who you listen to. And so, and finding the person that has the results that you're trying to achieve, and then asking them for advice and asking them for tips and tricks and pointers. So that's awesome. Like, you're literally speaking his language, like the whole, and I could share the rest of the tape later, but literally everything
Please
you
do.
shared on the tape, you just mentioned in this short little conversation.
No, literally, please do. And I'll say I'm always open to information. So I'm here for it. Again, that's what this is about. This whole platform that you're creating for your followers is to equip everybody with information as resources to change not only your lives, but the lives of those around you, right? That's our due diligence, is we want to bring forth information to be a blessing.
Absolutely. So if people would like to get in contact with you, how can they reach out to you?
Yes. So those who want to contact me and have, of course, I welcome one-on-one discussions. There's always coaching opportunities just to process walk your custom setup and what's right maybe for you. You can actually reach out to me a couple ways. So I do have a YouTube channel myself. You can type in Tara, Tara, buys subdivisions. That will pull me up for you there. You'll see a hashtag hours make dollars, ideas make millions. I'm a firm believer of that. Also, you can connect with me through email. You can connect with me at contact@qi-audit.com. You can also reach out to me directly by phone at 346-393-4668.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you for being on not 1 week, but 2 weeks in a row. And oh my gosh, you are wise beyond your years. I wish I would have known you when I was 18, and that way I could pick your brain when I was 18.
I
Because
was
I
crazy
love
at 18. I was crazy at 18.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, I really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate you for being on the show, and I think you'll definitely be on the show in the future. Like, this isn't the last time.
Have me back. Listen, I'd be glad. I'd be honored. I appreciate you for inviting me. It's been my pleasure. So yes, I'm looking forward to coming back again for sure.
Excellent. So, if you found any value in what Tara was sharing, or any value in this YouTube station, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're viewing this through Facebook, go over to YouTube, type in Finlit Live, and you could go to my website too, finlitlive.com, and it'll direct you straight to the YouTube station. Go ahead and like and subscribe for more content like this. If you found any value, just go ahead and smash that like button. And I appreciate you guys for being on, and look forward to hanging out with you guys in the future and bringing you guys valuable content that will help improve your personal finances. And so I appreciate you for getting lit.